after it began, the crisis is finally over. 3 of the 4 gang members are dead.
In a SWAT situation, sometimes you don't have any alternative. The person will put you in a position where you have to use deadly force. I haven't spoken with anyone in my business that really wants to use deadly force, but it's an alternative and the last alternative that you have to save your life or someone else's life.
My first reaction was that I was dead. He was going to shoot me and I would die.
At a Wells Fargo bank in Buena Park, California, Paul Wing, an off-duty police officer, finds himself face-to-face with an armed bank robber with a violent past. The action is captured on a surveillance camera.
The suspect came in the bank behind me. He walked right next to me as he went to the access way to where the tellers were. He was announcing that it was a robbery, and he actually threatened to kill the tellers if they didn't comply with his orders. My design at that point was to be a witness, to try to be the best witness I could and not take any action. I didn't want to unnecessarily endanger anyone inside the bank. He lowered his gun down the line of tellers, and I suspected he was going to shoot the teller. And at that point, I didn't feel I had any other options but to draw and fire.
Officer Wing's first bullet strikes the gunman in the chest, but does not stop him. Officer Wing is now in a fight for his life.
The round struck him in the chest cavity and knocked him back maybe a half a step. Both of his arms went up, and he fired a round in the air. He started to bring the gun down towards me, and I tried to shoot him again, but my gun had jammed. He started firing at me at that point. I was extremely scared. My first fear was that he would kill me.
As bullets whiz within inches of Officer Wing's body, he struggles to his feet and somehow gets his hands on the bank robber's gun.
I grabbed a hold of the gun barrel, and he began striking me in the head with his free hand.
As Officer Wing fights for the gun, the bank robber pulls the trigger. Fortunately, Officer Wing is not hit. After gaining control of the weapon, Officer Wing chases his assailant out of the bank and finally apprehends him in the parking lot.
I've thought about it myself. I thought at that particular time it was the right thing to do. He made the move that forced me into taking action. I really felt he was going to kill somebody.
Knoxville, Tennessee. After a local bank is robbed, police trail the suspects to this home. The situation quickly turns into a tense standoff as the armed suspects barricade themselves inside. After police move into position, a female suspect gives up. Moments later, another suspect surrenders, but a lone gunman remains inside the house. He exchanges gunfire with the police. One officer is shot in the arm and stomach and is rushed to a local hospital. As more shots ring out, police begin to carefully evacuate the neighborhood. Still, the gunman refuses to come out.
Okay, come on out, Donnie. Come on out, keep your hands up where you can see them.
I talked to him at the beginning, and then I turned it over to one of our hostile negotiators, and then I started up again towards the end there just to see if we could get him out.
Police fire a series of tear gas bombs into the house.
Did not respond at all to any of our calls for him to come out of the house. After a point then, right around 12:15, our SWAT team started shooting canisters of tear gas in the house, and he replied by firing his shotgun out the window several times at our officers.
The standoff is into its 4th hour when the gunman comes out of the house, now threatening to kill himself. A sharpshooter takes aim and fires, striking the suspect's gun. The man checks his weapon, sees that it is damaged, and tosses it away. Now look again. The bullet hits his gun. His arm recoils. He inspects his weapon, then wisely surrenders.
You train and you train for days like this, and although you never really expect them to happen, sometimes they do, and fortunately, you know, the things that we've been taught to do, we did today.
All I need is someone else to back me up. I'll stop this guy before he calls the 1050. Turn around, go in the east.
Newcastle, Indiana. State Trooper Mark McDougal is about to join the high-speed pursuit of a wanted felon.
Next see the stop before he kills someone out here.
The driver has just robbed a bank of more than $5,000. He is armed and dangerous.
Reference the subject in the blue Ford Mustang, the robbery at Citizens Bank. He is now eastbound.
Subject refusing to stop at this time. Passing lane at 4 units now.
Just ahead, deputies have set up a barricade. The suspect soon finds his escape route blocked. As vehicles stack up, the suspect veers to the right and jumps out of his getaway car. Then he points a .45 caliber handgun at the nearest motorist. Police open fire.
6541.
Shots fired.
No restrictions.
I fired 3 times. I didn't have time to aim, but I knew I'd hit him because he kind of stumbled and fell over the car and around to the other side of the car.
He is in custody.
Brenda Johnson and her 2 children found themselves face to face with the crazed gunman.
I instinctively locked all my car doors, and when I heard his first shot, I covered my head and kind of put my head down a little bit, and the next time I looked up, he was on the opposite side of my car, and then I lost sight of him and I pulled off. Shook up a little bit, but we're all okay.
The woman's life was in danger, and her children were in danger. He left us no other recourse but to stop his actions.
Subject is in custody. Shots were fired.
If it weren't for the rapid response of the Indiana State Troopers, the outcome might have been tragic for Brenda and her 2 children.
You know, I wish it didn't happen, but she's alive today, and that makes me feel real good.
Charlotte, North Carolina. Inside this home, a man is barricaded with a gun. He has already threatened to kill his father. Pleas from both his parents and the police go unheeded. The desperate man has fired his weapon 3 times. Police negotiators try to talk some sense into him, but he refuses to listen. After more than 4 hours, the negotiators are finally able to coax the man out on his porch, but he still won't lay down his gun.
Get everybody away from here. Did you talk? Tommy, you want to talk?
The police restate their position. Drop the weapon before someone gets hurt.
No, I'm not going this down.
The gunman doesn't realize that a SWAT team is just a few feet away, positioned around the corner of the house. Still pointing his gun, the man walks towards the officers. When he sees them, he raises his weapon to fire. The police have no choice but to defend themselves. In a matter of seconds, the standoff is over.
When somebody makes an election to point a gun at a police officer, we don't require the officer to wait for the person to fire the gun. That person has told the officer they represent a deadly threat. They held their fire until the very last moment when he was clearly getting ready to, and in fact did, point the weapon at the officers. At that point, it's a matter of their life or his.
All units at the Bank of America, stay down. Shots are being fired, automatic fire. Shots are being fired from AK-47. There is an officer down.
February 28, 1997, North Hollywood, California. Scene of the largest gunfight ever caught on tape. 1,100 rounds of armored-piercing bullets are fired. 9 officers are shot. 7 civilians are injured.
I did not think that I was going to get out of there alive.
But thanks to the bravery of countless Southern California police officers, no one is killed, except the 2 bank robbers. After locking more than 30 hostages in the bank's vault, the 2 gunmen try to make their getaway.
They start yelling and screaming, everybody down, you know, and they start shooting all over the place.
But they're surprised by police. The gunmen open fire, spraying bullets at anything in their way. Jorge Vieira, a Spanish-speaking reporter for Telemundo Television, is one of the first to arrive on the scene.
There was bullets everywhere.
Jorge spots one of the gunmen, but mistakes him for a cop.
We didn't know where the bullets were coming from or what was happening or anything.
Not realizing that they are in extreme danger, they barricade themselves close to the bank robber. Jorge continues to report on the robbery, fully aware that this newscast may be his last.
When I heard the bullet that hit behind the pool, at that moment I was pretty scared. I started thinking, oh, I'm gonna get killed.
Several police officers are wounded. Helicopters catch the terrifying scene from above. They too become moving targets. Amidst the chaos and horror, Dr. Jorge Montez treats 2 injured officers when they duck through the front door of his dental office.
I see the 2 officers on the floor, and they start screaming away, "Who's a doctor? Who's a doctor?" And I say, "I'm the doctor." He said, "Help me, I've been shot, I've been shot."
Tracy Fisher is on her way back from the ATM when she is caught in the crossfire.
The sound of the gunfire was death to me,
While huddled behind a squad car, she is shot in the foot.
and it knocked my feet out from under me. I mean, I hit the pavement.
The suspect is moving northbound in the parking lot. Suspect is behind the white vehicle in the parking lot.
The gunmen continue their assault. While one suspect drives, the other walks calmly beside the vehicle, blasting everything in sight.
He goes about 10 yards, turn around, caps up, and going to clip around at us.
The return barrage of police gunfire is deflected by the bank robber's body armor.
I don't know how many times, but heavy body armor, he's not knocking down at all.
Watch closely as the gunman lurches forward, a police round literally bouncing off of him.
Go for the legs. They don't have body armor on their legs.
The quick-thinking police borrow high-powered weapons from a neighborhood gun shop and take the offensive when the gunmen split up. Shooting only a pistol, the gunman on foot is finally outgunned. In a burst of gunfire, his weapon is shot from his grasp. Then the gunman goes down.
Squad is moving in. There's one suspect eastbound from the north side of the parking lot.
The second bank robber heads into the residential neighborhood. Families take cover inside their homes as he attempts to hijack passing motorists. Calmly, methodically, the suspect transfers his weapons into the pickup. When the truck won't start, the police make their move. The gunman opens fire at the police.
More shots are being fired.
The officers return fire.
F-45's all officers out here in my end to stay down. There's all kinds of ricochets flying. Stay down, everybody. Watch crossfire.
All units watch for crossfire.
Then, a direct hit by police. The suspect has fired his final shot. Calm is once again restored.
One suspect on Archwood is in custody.
The residents of North Hollywood will never forget this day. They will certainly never forget the brave officers who gallantly risked their lives.
Hearing the officers' voices, knowing that they knew we were there, meant a lot to me. It made me feel that I wasn't alone.
And what was so courageous to me is even though they were obviously in pain and bleeding and in danger, they were still concerned for the partners down below and still concerned for us, the civilians.
Because of the great job that the policemen did, I believe that that's why nobody got killed. Only the suspects.
Fortunately, most police officers will never have to risk their lives in a shootout. But if an armed suspect chooses to brandish a deadly weapon, we must